Rev up your engines!
Well, GM's all-electric Chevy Equinox goes on sale. They want to test EV demand, right? They sell a lot of Equinoxes with regular gasoline engines, right? Well, now they're having an all-electric version. And they're saying later this year they're going to have a $35,000 model out there. They're calling that cheap, but there's always the asterisk, right? The Equinox EV is launching only with the higher-priced models at $51,100 without any incentives. So they say, well, we're going to make $35,000 one, but the ones we're making now, they're $51,000 with no incentives, right? These people are greedy pigs, right? We're going to make an affordable car. It's going to be $35,000, but the ones we're making now are all $51,000, right? Pure greed. I hope it just slaps them down and people don't buy them. You got any brains? Don't buy one of these things. GM and their Ultium battery packs, they've had all kinds of problems with them. That's their new system, right? You're wasting your time buying one of these electric cars at this point in time. They don't have the batteries or the motors perfected. They don't have any range, and they're overpriced. Well, we're making a $35,000 car. Oh, but this one's $51,000. Later, we'll put the cheaper ones out, right? What a line of horse manure, right? And that's what they say. Let's see what they actually do, right? Tesla, I'm going to make a Cybertruck. It's going to be, under $40,000. Now they're $100,000 if you want to buy one, right? Because these companies are greedy. And you get even with their greed, don't buy their products, and then it won't affect you. And if everybody doesn't buy their products, they'll go out of business, and we won't have to deal with them anymore. All this hype that they come out, an affordable EV, in reality, it is not. It's the first electric Equinox. You know they're going to have problems. It's GM. They always have problems with their vehicles, right? New design is going to have the most. And then instead of 35, well, these are 51.4. We'll make the cheaper ones later. Hey, you want to sell this stuff in volume? Give people the price one, right? Don't try to rip them off with a super expensive model. Huh? That's just the way the car manufacturers are, though. They always advertise, here's the price of the car. But then they won't have any of those prices. But hey, for 15 grand more, we got all these other ones sitting over there, right? You know what I say? Make the cheaper one, see if it works. Don't be greedy, but no, they do the exact opposite. They're just hoping. It's new. People will flock to it because it's new. You know what I say? Flock away from it, people. Is GM bringing Pontiac back? There was some kind of a thing on the internet that they're trying to tease people. Pontiac fans, it's been a weird 15 years since we left, hasn't it? The future needs us, so Pontiac is back. Our first model is a hybrid. Battery and electric motor to start a 667 horsepower supercharged V8. Who knows if this is what really is going to happen? And if it is in a giant supercharged V8, for a fact that they won't make that many of them. It'll ruin their cafe gas mileage ratings. They're pretty much retiring V8 engines, so this would be like a stopgap thing. It's just a name, Pontiac, right? And names don't mean anything. You go way back in the day, Pontiac meant something. It was an actual company. But General Motors bought them ages ago, and they were just General Motor cars, just like everything else. There's nothing fancy about them, like Lincoln and Ford. Okay, the originally was a Lincoln company. Ford bought them off a long time ago. And the only difference between the Lincolns and the Fords these days are the Lincolns charge more money for them. They're just Fords. They're not particularly well-built vehicles. Everybody, well, it's a Lincoln. When I was a kid, that was the big thing. A Lincoln. Ooh, look, he's got a Lincoln. Now it's like, boy, he's got a Lincoln. Boy, is he old-fashioned. And Pontiac, hey, whether they bring the name back or not, to me, I really don't care. If you're a Pontiac fan and you get suckered into buying one of these things and it falls apart, well, I feel sorry for you. Well, bad news is you live in California. The California Air Resources Board is mandating an additional 50 cents per gallon tax to add to gasoline. They want to try to ban petroleum and diesel by 2035. Good luck with that, California. It's a big state. You got a lot of commerce. I was just there. I saw diesel trucks everywhere on the highway delivering stuff just like every other place. You think this magically is going to do just by charging people more. And of course, who gets hit? The middle class. The middle class gets hit again. Here, pay 50 cents a gallon more now so we in California can have more tax money that we'll waste on who knows what, giving credit cards to illegal aliens. I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm glad I don't live there. I'd be furious. Such a shame. It's such a beautiful place, too. I like visiting, but I'd never live there. I-71 says I get a hard shift in my transmission when I lift my leg before it shifts. I got a bad torque converter, and I want to know if it's the torque converter or something else that's wrong, like the transmission. When I drive normal, it shifts fine, but when I full throttle, it lags for 2 seconds, then shifts too hard. Is that the converter, or is it both the converter and the TCM or the transmission. There's no codes. When you have a problem with the torque converter or the transmission, just driving it, you can't tell what it is. All that stuff's computer run. You just have to find a guy like me, a good mechanic, that has a very good scan tool. I use an Autel MaxiSys Ultra. And what I would do would be, I would hook it up to your car, put it on transmission data, and I would record the data. Then I'd drive it and I'd analyze it. And I'd be able to see, is it the torque converter that's slipping? Is it the transmission gears that are slipping? Or is there a problem in a transmission control module? All that data is recorded when I drive test it with a good scan tool like my Autel. Then I could say, yes, look, it's all torque converter slippage, so change the torque converter, right? And of course, the problem is, change the torque converter, you got to pull off the transmission. What if the transmission's bad and you do all that work and it doesn't fix it? That's why you have to pay a mechanic who knows what he's doing with that kind of work. You can't just guess. And the mechanic's got to know what he's doing, how to read the data and say, okay, here's the torque converter slippage. And then you go to the transmission data and you might see, well, the transmission's not slipping, the gears are working fine, but it's the torque converter that's slipping. But that's the only way. You got to find somebody who knows what they're doing with a really good scan tool. Otherwise, it's just guesswork because you don't have any codes. Even if you have a code, they're relatively generic, but you don't even have codes. So, and the software for transmissions is often not that great anyways. They can have real serious problems and a code never trips. Well, a solar panel company in Virginia is facing a six-figure fine. Energix Renewables in Virginia is getting a fine by the Virginia government because they're bypassing all kinds of laws. They're building these things, they're not draining them right, they're polluting, they're eroding the land. These guys just come with bulldozers. I've watched them build. They just come with bulldozers, flatten it out, stick them up and go away, right? They're having problems with erosion, sediment, and drainage issues. And this isn't just like one little site. 7 sites of solar panels, right? All run by the same company. Obviously, something's amiss with the company, right? A lot of these solar panel companies, they're fly-by-night. They come, they go. I've seen people buy solar panels and either in the middle of putting them up, the company goes bankrupt, they left them, or they break and then they go to the company and it doesn't exist anymore. You know, it's a bunch of fly-by-night people in this. And in this case, they didn't go by any of the rules. They just stuck it up, dirt. Everything's eroding away, creating a problem. This is a hilarious thing. This is supposed to be environmental, right? The solar panels. I've seen them cut down the forest, then put solar panels there. Okay? Of course they can have erosion. They got rid of the trees and everything and replaced them with these solar panels. It also is going to heat up the area. Those are black. They absorb a lot of heat too, so they give off heat. Go make that area hotter. It's going to change the environment. If you build these gigantic ones that go for, miles and miles, that's going to heat that area up quite a bit. Scientists have already said that. They said, hey, whoa. Hold your horses. I'm building these solar panels in the desert because it's going to make the desert even hotter and start the winds blowing differently. So, and increase global warming, which they're supposed to stop, right? I mean, doesn't anybody think about the ramifications of what they do these days? I think all they think about is, we got this product, we're in the stock market, we're making money, let's start selling these things. Well, check it out. I think it's bad that Ford and Chrysler and GM have cars lying around they can't sell. Here's a bunch of F-35 planes. Lockheed Martin is running out of parking spaces for all the completed F-35s because the Pentagon refuses to accept them. Department of Defense put a complete freeze last summer on accepting stealth fighters until they fix the huge hardware and software problems. So they're just sitting there, not being used. Get this. Some test pilots reported they had to reboot their entire radar and electronic warfare systems mid-flight to get them back online. When the Pentagon won't accept something, hey, the infamous are buying, $7,000 toilet seats and stuff, but they won't accept these planes? Something's wrong here. But here's the hilarious thing for us taxpayers. In the lack of transparency, the Department of Defense said, we cannot give out the specific quantity of aircraft that are unsuitable for public release. It's a military secret. Gee, our planes aren't working. Well, how many? Well, we can't tell you. We know there's a problem, but we can't tell you how many it is, right? Talk about absurdity. I guess there's so many of them parked there, they couldn't escape people figuring out, hey, what are those planes doing there, right? But they won't tell you the specific number, our taxpayer dollars, and they won't even tell us, yeah? There's the government hiding everything from us. Well, this time a driverless Waymo car actually saved somebody. A couple was carjacked in San Francisco. The people took their money and their car and drove away. The police were chasing them. As the police were chasing them, the robber smashed into a Waymo. The The Waymo didn't come after them, like some kind of vigilante. I'm going to block them. I'm going to get those boys, right? Like in Texas. The Waymo was just there and the guy ran into it. Probably because it was going too slow. Well, it's one advantage, right? Carjacking people, stealing cars, driving away, and he ran into a Waymo. The Waymos actually served a purpose this time. They got in the way and the guy smashed into them. Maybe they'll put deputy badges on the Waymo cars and they can patrol our streets for us. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.